Okay. Alright, so this is supposed to be a video of our planning process
Behind the scenes.
prior to starting construction, even though we've obviously already started. Alright, so when we first looked for property, we found this lot that had very little info about it, but basically what we ended up having was just this fuzzy survey picture as to the lot dimensions, and then we went and looked at the property and liked it, so then we went from there. So we started the planning building process, which is usually figuring out your zoning and your planning board approvals, whatever might be needed, and going through that process.
How do you do that?
Usually you hire people. We ain't got no money. We hired ourselves, and thankfully we didn't mess it up too bad. So if you go through the town website, look up the zoning map, whatever town you happen to be in, look up where your property is, see what zoning it's in, see what the restrictions are, so you know what kind of house you can build, how big of a house, single family, two family, put an apartment on it or not, whatever, and how big your yard has to be, etc., setbacks and all that business. Anyway, so when you go from there, you figure that out. You go through the zoning regulations, zoning map, that gives you all that information. And then you go from there and you have to get a site plan made up.
Which you usually also hire someone
That
to
one
do.
we did. We hired somebody. We had, okay, we can't do that one ourselves. Only because we needed to have a septic design done alongside of it. So that was a combined expense for septic design and a site plan. So that got us to the point of having the property plan, development plan set, and then we had to go from there to the building plans, etc. too. But once we got our site plan and our fuzzy survey picture, and we found an old subdivision map on the county website, and we pretty much used that to lay out the property. And then we went back to the 1900s. So, in the 1900s, they had like non-digital stuff and no GPS. So we used a theodolite, I think is the right word.
Museum quality.
Museum quality theodolite. Basically the first surveying total station era that ever existed, from the 1980s. So it's like this little tiny scope you look through, and you find the angles based off of a point or two to locate your property lines. So then Sarah had to sit out in the rain with a stick.
The stupid stick.
Stupid stick.
It's the best way to test your marriage.
In the rain.
In the rain. The rain helps.
Anyway. So then we only had 2 points to use, and they weren't even on our property. So there was a couple of property markers on the neighbor's property that we had to start with. We went from there, and we were able to get a baseline, which gives you a 0 angle, and then you go from there and follow the bearings, that's what they're called, on the subdivision map or survey, and turn and go a certain distance, and you get to the next point, the next point, the next point.
Yeah, you lost me at angles.
Angles and points and
Numbers
turning.
and lines and...
Right. So then we had to, because this was months ago, we're trying to figure out what we did and what we didn't do. But so we laid out the property lines. I was able to use AutoCAD, thankfully, to kind of make up a cheat sheet, because in the 1900s, everything was done line of sight. So you had to be able to see from one point to the other. And there's trees in the way. Go figure. So we, instead of cutting all the trees down, worked around them, and which means you kind of have to move over a certain amount and then be able to move back and use different angles than what are on the map. So we did all that, and then we checked it, and it was wrong. Then we did it again.
And I almost snapped at one point.
almost did. No, maybe.
He's still here, so I didn't.
So we did all that. We checked it. It was wrong. We fixed it, hopefully. And then we had our property markers, and from there we were able to measure out where the house goes. Whew. Okay, so in the middle of laying out the property and the house, there's a big lot, but a lot of wetlands. So there's only really a small amount of the lot that's usable. Comes down to like an acre or two, probably 2. But
Which means we couldn't screw up where we put stuff.
Don't screw it up. It means we had maybe 2 or 3 or less feet worth of ability to move the house one direction or the other without either having a zoning issue or a too close to your well or your septic issue or a DEC issue because we're too close to the wetlands.
So no better time to say, let's do our own surveying than then.
We should hire somebody.
No pressure.
No, don't mess up. This is for the professionals. Go stand over there in the rain and hold that, and I'll see if I can find you.
I'm gonna go get my stupid stick and go stand for a few
I can't
hours.
see you. Move over a little. Shake the stick back and forth.
That was one of the hardest things, is the communication between both people is, and he says, move it slightly, I move it slightly, and it's, where'd you go?
Yeah, well, you're looking
I
through
moved this much.
Right? Just go. And an inch looks like a mile. Anyway, we did all that. We marked it out. And then we dug a big hole and built a house, and hopefully it's in the right place. And you'll find out whether we screwed up or not someday. When we tell you.
Maybe we will admit it, maybe we will not.
Whether we screwed up or somebody else did. At this point, there is nobody else involved, so I'm pretty sure it would have been us. But anyway. Then from there, okay, we got our site plan, we laid out our property, we built our house. Oh, wait, we have to do plans for the house and get a permit. That's right. All right, so we did our own plans. You should hire an architect. We didn't. Why? Because I have friends in high places that were willing to let me draft the plans and then make them official after reviewing them. Anyway, so I drew the plans in AutoCAD, and as we go through those, it's a pretty basic house, pretty basic footprint, because initially we were going to try to do a modular house, then our financial situation changed, so we decided to do everything ourselves, including draw the plans. Why not start with a plan that's basically already there as far as at least the layout and footprint, and go from there. So then we did, there's what they call a builder's set of plans. Includes your elevations, your floor plans, your foundation plan, section view, and a few things like that. And that kind of tells you how the house is built, what size it is, where the rooms are, where the windows are, where the doors are, yada, yada, yada. And then also a lot of the structural details for the foundation, for the framing. And then we submitted it to the town for our building permit, and they said, not good enough.
How about no?
Here's a list of 30 things that you still need. So, after looking at that list, most of them were, we don't want to do that, so too bad. But they required a full set of MEP drawings, they're called. So, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing drawings. I've never done that before. But why not?
No better time to learn.
Let's try it. So we did that. Drew out the mechanical plans, had them reviewed by an architect and approved and stamped, and with our building plans, put everything together, resubmitted it, and we were able to get our building permit. And then that's when we actually started, dug a hole, put a house in it, and it sort of looks like this so far. Any thoughts?
You make it sound so easy. We dug a hole.
Yeah, that took a while. You'll see that.
It was a lot more involved than just digging a hole. And
Right, but that's all for the future. Don't give them all the info now. Don't
True.
spoil all the
True.
fun. This is just how much torture it was to even start.
Right. This was all Mike's torture. This was not my torture.
Except for holding the stick in the rain.
Stick. That was the torture.
Right. So we'll probably try to do a small little demonstration of what that craziness looks like, and then.
I'm not holding that stupid stick again.
Oh yeah, just for fun. All right. Anyway, enjoy. Bye bye. All right, Sarah's way down there, and I'm gonna try to set up right here. Here we go. I can do this pointing thing. I'm gonna set up right here, and that's actually one of the points for our property lines, and we'll sight it in, just so you get an idea of how annoying and difficult this is. All right. Okay, so I have it sighted in. I can see her. Let's see if we can get you to see her through the thing. And let's say that that would have been a 0 angle. And then we'd have to check from where we came from, and then go to the next point and the next point.